I'm Bill Ritchie, and today I'm going to be testing a Mariner Halfwood press, which is a 12-inch wide printing press, etching press that I make. And every time I make a press, I test it first before it goes to its owner. I have made an aquatint to test this particular press today, an aquatint on copper, and I just got in from the studio. Welcome to my art gallery. The first thing I have to do is get the blankets, which come with the press. Every press I make has the blankets with it, or the felts. The felts, there are 3 of them. A very thin one called the sizing catcher, a thicker one called the forming felt, and a mid-sized one about 1/8 of an inch thick called the pusher felt. The sizing catcher goes on first, and this is where you learn how to adjust the press. First, I crank the roller to pressure screws all the way down so that they're touching the bed. I want to make sure I don't have the blanket under it yet. So now we're bottomed out, and then we count the turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 3 full turns, 3 half turns. 7, 8, 9. We'll try that. The idea is to get the blankets underneath the roller and then tighten it back down for the right printing pressure. Let's see if I can get it to go. Yeah, that's working just fine. And then I tighten it back. 1, whoop, it's already very tight. We'll try that. Fold the felts back, and then I get my plate ready to print. This isn't a printing demonstration, but I do need to get the ink on the plate and plate wiped to do the complete test. I have a little hot plate here in the gallery today, made of a second-hand iron. I'm using Daniel Smith processed black ink. Could use any kind of ink, any colored ink, whatever, to do this test, but I chose that ink today. This isn't a printing demonstration, as I said. It's a test of that press. So I'm going to be sort of walking through this process, and I may skip a few points. By the way, I'm warming the plate with the hot plate because this is an oil-based ink, and oil-based ink work better when they are warm. For spreading it out, I'm using a photographer's squeegee, shortened down from the original 14-inch length squeegee. Minor point, but sort of interesting. Now the ink is very streaky from having squeegeed it out like that. So I like to roll it out with a brayer. An aquatint is a kind of a touchy process to print, and it likes to show up any streaks or unevenness that you've left from applying the ink. So this is a good idea. Next comes tarlatan. This is my worst old dirty black tarlatan I start out with. It will take off most of the ink. I have no idea how this print is going to look. Not that it matters, because it's just a test, although it would be nice if it turned out to be a nice print. When I make Halfwood presses and I go through this testing procedure, I make the plate, and then I print the plate, and when the owner gets their equipment, they also get the plate that I tested, and they get the print that resulted. Kind of a nice package, I think. Sometimes the new owners like to see if they can match the effect that I got. This is called the paper wipe. It's the last fine residue of ink film off the plate so that you get the most contrast. I can see a little problem right here. Must be some dead ink. Dead ink is what happens when the ink dries up in the can and you didn't get it out of the ink when you fixed it. I'll have to use my pinky to fix that up. I'll have to bring Mr. Thumb into the action. It's really in there. Well, as I said, it's only a test. I'll clean the edges a little bit with the rag. The edges have been beveled on the plate. This is a 16 gauge copper plate, and since it's quite thick, I wouldn't want to use sharp leave the edges sharp. They would actually damage the felts. So we always bevel the edges of the plate to prevent damaging the felts. Now off with the gloves because I'm going to handle paper. Warm the plate once more, and pretty soon we'll be printing. Assuming that I got the pressure correctly set. We never heat the plate so much that we can't handle it. That would be too hot. Paper I'm using is called Reeves-Deline. Not that it matters. Almost any good printmaking paper will do. I'm not sure they still make Reeves-Deline. I got this out of a scrap drawer. It's been dampened. I soaked it in water for about 20 minutes, and then I put it into a jiffy bag. I blotted off the surface water, so you can see there's just sort of nice and soft. Tell about where the plate is centered, and print. The press is geared 8 to 1, so you can hardly feel it go through, but there is some resistance. The job of the thin blanket is to catch any sizing that is in the paper. It's moist now, so the sizing is somewhat in a liquid stage, and it's kind of like glue, and you wouldn't want it to come out and fill your forming blanket with sizing. It makes it all hard, whereas a sizing catcher you can wash. One time through is adequate. I didn't do a very good job of centering the plate. And there's the first test. So I think I can safely say the press works. So there you have the demonstration of number 4 in the Mariner size presses. This is a press with a 12-inch wide bed, and I hand build them myself. My name is Bill Ritchie, and I thank you for watching.